Hi everyone, I'll be showing you how to make this sunflower beaded bracelet. To start off, my wrist measures 6 inches and I use 39 inches of this beading thread. If your wrist is greater, use around 50 or 60 inches, and then cutting the thread, you want to fold it in half to have 2 tails at the end. Picking up 2 yellow beads, you're going to be putting it on one end. And then you will let those beads drop down. Pick up 2 more yellow beads, placing them on one tail. Then pick up 2 more yellow beads, placing them on the other tail, just like this. Then let them drop down. You should have 6 yellow beads at the bottom. Go all the way to the top again. Pick up 1 brown bead. This will be the center of your sunflower. I usually pull one tail higher than the other, so it's easier to get the brown bead on both tails. And then pull the brown bead all the way down. It should look like this now, with the 6 yellow beads underneath. This part is going to be a little tricky. You're going to fold the brown bead towards you in between the yellow beads. There should be 2 yellow beads on each side. Now their 2 tails are at the bottom, and you're going to be picking the right tail that is closest to the right side, and you're going to be threading up the 2 yellow beads on the side. If you can't get the thread through both of the yellow beads at one time, you can go through one, pull a little bit up, and then through the last one. And you're going to pull the thread all the way up. And it should look like this. And now you're going to be switching thumbs. Doing the same thing on the left side. Taking the tail, going through the 2 yellow beads on the side, up one, through one, up one, through one. And now half the sunflower is completed. Next, you're going to squish the yellow beads under the brown bead so the brown bead can pop up just a little. And then go back up to the tails. Now complete the sunflower. We're going to pick up 2 yellow beads and placing it on one tail. Doesn't matter which tail. And then you're going to take the other empty tail, you're going to be threading it through the beads in the opposite direction to make an X. And here's that X shape. And you're going to be pulling it all the way down to the flower. And then you will pull tight to complete the sunflower. Go to the bottom again, and you're going to be picking up 2 green beads, placing one on each tail. These will be the leaves in between each sunflower that we make. Let them drop down. Pick up 2 yellow beads, placing them on one tail. Again, picking the other tail, you're going to be inserting it through the beads in the opposite direction, making an X. Pull the tails so the yellow beads will go all the way to the bottom, starting our new sunflower. It can be a little tricky trying to make the two beads sit on top of the other sunflower. Just try your best. Now for the body of the sunflower, go back to the tails, pick up 2 yellow beads, placing them on one tail, and then picking another 2 up, putting it on the other tail. Let them drop down, and then picking up 1 brown bead, pulling one tail higher than the other so it's easier to get that center bead on both of the tails. And pull the brown bead all the way down. Before folding your second sunflower in half, make sure you're folding it in the same direction so the brown beads are facing upward. You're going to have those brown beads facing you and folding it over. Now that you have folded over the brown bead, there will be 2 yellow beads on each side. Again, the tails are facing the bottom now, and picking the tail that's closest to the right side, you will thread that through the yellow beads on the right side. Pulling the thread up, you want to make sure the loop at the bottom doesn't get caught on that last flower that we did, so make sure it's always on the side, just like that. Now switching to the other side, do the same thing. The tail goes through the 2 side beads on the left. Now we have the second sunflower almost done. Squeeze the yellow beads underneath the brown bead so the brown bead pops up. Next, go back to the ends, pick up 2 yellow beads, placing them on one tail. Again, you're going to be taking the other tail through the beads in the opposite direction to make an X. And pull the tails so the 2 beads can go down. When there's more than 1 sunflower, I like placing them between my middle finger and ring finger, so it's easier to get those yellow beads on top of one another, just like that. Go back to the end, pick up 2 green beads, place one on each of the tail. These are the leaves. Let them drop down, picking up 2 yellow beads, placing them on one tail, and then taking the other tail, threading them through the opposite direction to make an X. Every time you start a flower, you'll be doing this step, and every time you end a flower, you'll be doing this step. And repeat these steps until the length that you want. I measure my bracelet with my wrist, just doing however long that I want. This is what a finished bracelet will look like. So you have a lobster claw, jump ring, and at the ends we have jump rings and a basic charm. To finish your bracelet, you'll tie a couple of knots. I did 3 to 4. And when you've done those knots, I usually take my 2 pliers and pull lightly on both ends, not too hard. If you pull too hard with the pliers, the cord will snap. So just be careful of that. Here it is, showing you. And when the knots are secure, I usually hold the last sunflower that we made and pull on the knots to make a string of knots, as you can see. And then grab your crimp bead cover, sliding it on both the tails. Pick up your crimp bead, slide it on both of the tails. It can be a little tricky getting the crimp bead over the knots. I sometimes use pliers or just push with my fingernail. Now to close the crimp bead, you will slightly squish it, but not too hard because the metal will cut the cord. Now that you're at your crimp bead on, you will then take the tails and get your cutting pliers. You'll snip it off right before that last knot that you made. Now you're ready to close the crimp bead cover, so you will just squish it and then grab your pliers and make sure it's fully shut. Next up is the jump rings. I usually make my own jump rings with a 20 gauge wire like this. I find it cheaper than always buying jump rings at the store. So I cut around 10 inches of wire, grab a nail. I just happen to find this one that I like the diameter of. So I'll grab one end and proceed to wrap it around the whole nail. When I am done wrapping, I just yank it off. Then grabbing your cutting pliers, you will cut away each circle that you made. Next we'll grab your lobster claws, pick one, and I always test to make sure it always opens and closes and doesn't break. Next grab a jump ring, opening it and putting it through the holes of the crimp bead cover. Make sure the brown beads that are popping up are facing you. And grab your lobster claw. In the opening of the lobster claw, I usually face down. Now for the end of the bracelet, you're going to grab a jump ring, opening it. This part can be a little tricky. At the end, there's 2 yellow beads, and in between them, the tails are going to the right and left. You're going to go right in between. And you're going to shift the beads so you're going between the 2 yellow beads, like this. And then close that jump ring and add more. In this part, I usually add my basic charm to the ends. The flowers itself measures around 6 inches and the whole bracelet is 9 inches. I sell mine, so I typically make them 9 inches long, adjustable to 6 inches, just for more variety of sizing. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. I'd love to see the bracelet that you made. You can add it in the comments or tag my Instagram at beachybeach_jewelry. My hopes is to add more tutorials of different bracelets as I go along, but thank you so much for watching.